Hello YouTube! Today on the Naughty Librarian I am doing my July wrap-up. In July, outside of Booktubeathon, I read 9 books. Not so bad. I have read more in a month, but I feel like 9 is good because a lot of these books were very, very long. I don't really know what order I want to go in. I'm just going to go in random order. Hope you guys are cool with that one. Coming in at 4 stars, I read The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 of the Mistborn series, and I've been meaning to read it for a very long time, and I finally just got around to it. And it is so long. That was like the main hindrance in me reading it. It's like over 700 pages. It's a lot of pages. It's a lot of pages. It's really hard to get into what the exact plot of this book is because it's like a whole high fantasy series, so there's like a lot of plot. Well of Ascension takes place about a year after Mistborn, and there's like a fledgling republic trying to become a democracy, and there's a lot of political intrigue and turmoil, and a lot of the times I was just like, oh, I just want to see them do cool Mistborn stuff. I don't want to see them scheming. So I understand the scheming is like important and a big part of the story, but like it's kind of not a big part of the story when you think about it. Because like the main part of the story is the Well of Ascension and the magic therein. And seeing people like fight over power of the city, it seems like small potatoes in the long run, kind of. Because you're like, the fate of the world is at stake. Who cares about who's governing like the city? Like, ugh. Overall, I did really enjoy this. The characters are great. The magic's cool. The action's cinematic. It's a good series. I appreciate reading it. I will continue on. I want to finish the series because I like it overall. It's really good. Also coming in at 4 stars, I have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Now, Christina Lauren are a pair of authors that I will read pretty much anything they ever write because I love them, and this is no exception. It is a bit different than a lot of the work I have seen from them. Mainly, I think this is because this is technically women's fiction rather than a romance. Romance does play a large part of this, but it's not necessarily about 2 people falling in love. It's about a woman kind of growing as a person, and a relationship is part of that. And here's the thing. I did enjoy it overall, and it's well written, and I was interested all the way throughout the book, but I had to take off a star because it's so freaking sad. It's just sad the whole way through. It's such a drama. Like, ugh, like it made me like just feel tired, like having to read it a bit. I'll be honest, because I read their books a lot of the times because they're funny. They're fun rom-coms where like, you know there's gonna be a happy ending and laughs along the way, and I enjoy that so much. And this one was just like, let me trudge through another depressing chapter. Other than that, it is still really well written, and I pretty much love everything they do, so I'm gonna like it no matter what. It's just not my favorite of their works. Coming in at 3 stars, I have White Cat by Holly Black. This is technically my worst book of the month, I'm gonna say. I went into this pretty much blind. I just saw, ooh, Holly Black, and there was a guy on the cover holding a kitty, and I was like, I'm down. So I went in knowing nothing besides that, and it was just, it's not her best work, I'll say. It felt phoned in. Like, it wasn't that good. Like, okay, fine. You know what? I'm just gonna be honest. It was not that good. It just wasn't. I did appreciate the level of world building that went into it because it's very intricate, and I felt like it was still well written because Holly Black wrote it, but it just wasn't a very good story. Like, it wasn't cool. It could have been cool, but it kind of fell short for me. In this world, there's curse workers. So basically, if they touch you like skin to skin, they can do magic on you. It's about this family, kind of like con men, grifter family, and like an organized crime, and a cat, and curses and magic. Yep, that's about the best way to describe it. I wanted it to be better than it was. It just, it wasn't that good. Sorry, it just wasn't. I wasn't into it. It could have been better. Coming in at 4 stars, I have Royals by Rachel Hawkins. Kind of surprise hit of the month. I actually really enjoyed this quite a bit. I mean, it is totally as fluffy and pink as the book suggests. Like, it's a fluffy rom-com, but I was so in the mood for a fluffy rom-com, and it's a well-written fluffy rom-com. Those are like my faves. Basic premise is that Daisy is a 17-year-old girl, and she kind of gets thrust into the spotlight because her older sister is marrying a prince. She goes to Scotland and she hangs out with all these royals, and it's kind of like a fish out of water situation. Yeah, I really like Daisy, the main character in this. She had like a snarky voice, and I loved her to bits. She was really smart and spunky and snarky, and she was like my favorite. Ugh, I love Daisy so much. She's a great heroine. Like, honestly, I liked Daisy enough. I'd read another book of this series, and I don't really need to, but like I would because I like Daisy enough. It was just really fun. That's the best way to describe it. It's a fun, light read. If you're looking for just like something that's not gonna test you very much, it's just gonna be funny and light, this is your jam. I liked it a lot. Also coming in at 4 stars, I read Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert. It's really hard to review this book without just like giving away the whole story, but I'm gonna try. It follows a girl named Suzette, and it's kind of like a slice of life story about her family. And it's also about Lion, who is Lionel, her brother. And Lionel has bipolar disorder. So it's also about living with someone who has a mental illness and kind of the toll that takes on the people around them and on the person themselves. So it talks a lot about mental illness. And it also talked about coming to terms with your own sexuality, because one of the aspects of this story is that both Suzette and Lionel kind of both fall in love with the same girl. And you know what? I kind of really enjoyed the fact that Suzette was allowed to be messy. Like, her decisions weren't always the best decision, but like they always made logical sense why she was making them. Like, there's a lot of like YA characters where people get mad at them for just making nonsense, irrational decisions. And they get defended by saying, well, I mean, sometimes people act irrationally. And I was like, yeah, but like, they don't act illogically. Like, all of her decisions, even if they're irrational and based on emotional, like a high emotional impact moment, and maybe they're the bad decision, but like, it makes sense why she would pick that. Like, that's a rare distinction you don't find a lot in a younger character. So I like the fact that even though maybe her decisions weren't the best decision, it made sense why she picked it. It wasn't just like, I'm just picking an irrational like thing for no reason. Like, she had reasons for doing everything she did. It kind of just has an open ending a bit. Like, you feel like everyone's gonna be okay, but it's like still messy at the end. And it gave it that like the air of realism. Like, yeah, things are messy, but it's okay. So I really like the message this book had. It was really good. Coming in at 5 stars, I have The Heart Forger by Rin Chupeco. I am in love with this series. It's hard to explain without having to explain the first book, but it's basically there are witches in this world, and our main character Tia is a bone witch, so it means she's basically a necromancer, and they fight like demon monster dragon things. There's like dragon creatures, there's a dragon battle. There's several dragon battles in this. That should be enough to sell you on it right there. But it's really cool because it's told in 2 different time periods. So there's the majority of the book where it's Tia in the past, and where she's telling her story to this bard. So basically, you're seeing all of these events that lead you up to the other part of the story where it's told in the present time, where Tia is a vastly different character than she has been in the past. So it's really interesting, like, seeing who Tia is now, and then you're reading all the things that lead up to her becoming like kind of the villain of the story. Like, how does she get all evil? Like, it's so fascinating. However, like, I don't really think she's evil. She's more of an anti-hero. Like, she's done putting up with shit, and she's like, I'm gonna get some stuff done. I don't care if it's evil. Shit needs to get done, and no one's doing it, so I'm gonna do it. Which is kind of a better rationale than like, I'm angry, so I'm gonna destroy everything. It's more like, no, shit's fucked up and I'm gonna fix it, damn it. I don't know, I'm obsessed. It's so good. So gosh darn good. Dragon battles, necromancers, villainy, like all kinds of good stuff. That should be enough to sell you on the series. It's really good. Highly recommend. Oh wait, P.S. I do want to bring this up because I thought it was an interesting addition to the story. There is a character named Lick in this. This character in particular is a trans girl, and I don't always see a lot of trans characters, especially like in fantasy novels. And I really like how this character is handled a lot of the time, because overall in like this witch community, Lick is very much accepted as a woman. Like, they all accept Lick that is a woman, even though Lick is, you know, anatomically male. So at the same time, you have overwhelming acceptance and love, and at the other time, there's like a sense of foreboding. Like, outside of this pocket, like, Lick would probably be executed. So it's like a really interesting take on it. And yeah, I just don't ever really see trans characters in a fantasy novel, so I thought that was like a really cool addition. Shocker of all shockers, coming in at 5 stars is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I am shook by how much I freaking love this. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. I'm shocked still that Cassandra Clare wrote a book that I think is amazing, and I think the characters are smart and well developed, and I like them all. Oh my goodness gracious. There's still those Cassandra Clare-isms with like the forbidden romance. Like, just let your characters be happy in a normal relationship. Shit. Like, every relationship in these books is just doomed with tragedy. And it's just like, does she sit around her writing desk and just like twirling her mustache and like laughing hysterically at how much she's screwing with our hearts? Wait, she doesn't have a mustache. I'm imagining her as an old-timey villain with a mustache. She doesn't have one in real life. Oh, doomed romance. That's like her jam. And I'm like, oh, just let them be happy. Why are you messing with Julian? He is my love. By the way, I really like the character Julian. He's like everything. I love him to bits. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to read Lord of Shadows. I never thought I would say I can't wait to read a Cassandra Clare novel, but the time has come. Also coming in at 5 stars, I have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I didn't really know what to expect going into this, and coming out of it, this is like the weirdest book I've ever read. But at the same time, Laini Taylor is a genius. Oh my goodness, like, how did she come up with it? Like, it's one of those books you read and you're like, how did this author come up with this? This is friggin' brilliant. Like, I was astounded by how good it was. Like, it was really good. It's basically about a starry-eyed librarian named Laszlo and a lost magical city and the children of fallen gods. That's like a good elevator pitch. It's like wonderfully lyrically written, and it's also like a brutally beautiful fairy tale at the same time. Like, it's very magical and whimsical and lyrical the whole time you're reading it, but at the same time it's like super brutal because there's like a genocide in this. Like, it's really dark at points, but it's also like so fantastical that you're like fully immersed in this world, and it's such rich world building. Like, how did she come up with it? God damn, she's a genius. It's one of those books where you're just like, respect, Laini Taylor, that was good. I am impressed with you. So I recommend. It's very fantastical. It's hard to describe what it's about, but it's really good. It's got like, it's like a beautiful nightmare. That's the way to describe it. It's really good. I recommend. It's hard to describe though. I wish I could describe it better, but it's good. Just take my word for it. It's really good. Coming in at 3 stars, the last book I read this month was War Storm by Victoria Aveyard. I kind of have an up and down relationship with the Red Queen series because I really liked Red Queen. I did not like Last Sword, like, at all. Then King's Cage came, and that was amazing. That was really good. And then I was like hoping War Storm would stay on the good side, but I was like, it was like up and down, up. And it went down again. Ugh. So yeah, books 1 and 3 are good. 2 and 4 not so good. The title suggests it's a war story. And the thing about war stories is that the vast majority of it is them strategizing and planning and scheming and power struggles and very little actual battles. So a lot of the time it's just, they're just sitting around waiting. So it just felt like I was sitting around waiting for something to happen for most of the book. And yeah, I was a little disappointed. It just didn't satisfy me as an ending, considering it is like that thick. It is a long ass book. They could have like satisfied the ending. It kind of ends like way too open-ended. Like, nothing's really like concluded. Like, I don't know if that was like on purpose, because maybe there's going to be a spin-off series in the future or something and they want to leave the door open, or if it's just like that they didn't realize that it was too open and like nothing is like concluded. Like I felt like it didn't end. Like there's so many things open in here that it was like, it just felt unfinished. It wasn't like an open ending where you're like, okay, like they're gonna be all right even if I don't know exactly what happens. No, it's just like, I don't know what happens. Like, what? How? End the book, damn it. The one character I was really excited to see the most was Evangeline, because we finally started getting her POV in King's Cage. And for the previous 2 books, I didn't like Evangeline. And then I started reading from her perspective, and I was like, damn, Evangeline, you a boss. That was the part I was most excited about for Warstorm, because I knew we were going to have a lot of Evangeline chapters. And we do, and Evangeline's parts are the best parts of the book. And like, sorry, slightest of spoilers here, her ending in this is one of the ones that's not resolved at all. Like, it just kind of, she basically leaves the city. And that's the last time you see of her. And it's just like, well, what happens to her? Like, it just wasn't resolved. And I'm like, oh, that was the thing I wanted the most, was a good Evangeline ending. And they just didn't give it to me. Yeah, it's hard to review this one because I felt like it didn't end the series. Like, you know what I mean? This is the finale of the series, and it doesn't feel over yet. Does that make sense? I don't know if they're planning on making a spin-off later. I would read an Evangeline spin-off. If that's like the goal, then like forget everything I just said, because I'm okay with it. I will put up with this book not being complete if it means I get Evangeline books. So we'll see. I don't think that's the case at the moment though, so as is, I don't know, I felt like it was like kind of a lackluster ending. Well, kind of ended that wrap up on a downer note. But overall, I pretty much read good books in July. I mean, the worst book I read this month came in at 3 stars. Like, that's not very bad. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read these books, which ones are your favorites and least favorites. Several of the books I read have sequels coming out. If you've read them, which sequel are you the most interested in? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I will see you guys soon. Bye!